thank you.
Oh, glad. I have two lovely people. Tyler, raise your hand. And Tracy, raise your arm. They're going to be our microphone specialists for today's Q&A.
Super.
So just line up. Let's get started. Shall we do ladies first?
Hollister in red. Ladies first?
Sure, if you like. Tracy, who do you got?
Trey's old-fashioned, isn't it? No.
Hello, hello.
No, we can do men first. Whoever's there first.
Yeah.
Run now.
Say again?
Said run, make it a contest.
Make it a contest.
We have a question over here.
Oh, thank you, Tracy. Go.
Hi, Lucy.
Hi.
I love you and everything you've been in, but especially your SNL that you hosted back in the 90s. I wanted to ask you about...
Back in the 90s. So last century. Yes?
If you remember, I wanted to ask you specifically about the very amazing sketch, Stevie Nicks Fajita Roundup.
I remember it well.
Yes. And how you prepared for that, because it was genius.
That's good. We prepared for that. They ask you, have you got any talents? And you go, no, that's why I'm here. And they said, any mimicry? I said, well, as a kid, I kind of did Chrissy Hind and Stevie Nicks. And they said, oh, let's hear Stevie Nicks. So I did my little rendition. They were going like, oh, perfect, that's a keeper. And then they wrote this fajita roundup. That's some joke about Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, who settled down and owned some roadside taco store, which as a non-American, I absolutely did not see what was funny about that a little bit. And I think it could happen. And so I think maybe that was the X factor in that particular skit, because I had no idea that it was funny, if it was funny, and that people would ever remember it. So just kind of magic, alchemy.
Tyler. I love it.
Hello. Well, I went to Dragoncon once.
It was awful.
I'm supposed to be Grumpy Cat. You probably can't.
Oh, Grumpy Cat. Got it. The meme, the cat with the... Sure.
Oh, yeah. Just got it. That's funny. Hey, I'm a meme too. Look at all the fucks I give. Sorry, Kayla and other tiny children. Oh my gosh, here's the girls. Some very familiar faces in this audience. Hello, darlings.
So what was your question?
So my question is, first of all, we're thrilled to have you here at Dragoncon, and thank you very much for coming. I was wondering how you heard about us, what you heard about us, and that made you want to come here. And then I'm also interested in knowing what we can look forward to seeing or hearing you do in the future.
That's one of those. This is a three-pronged question. How I heard about you from Bruce Campbell and Ted Raimi. And they said, Lucy, you've got to see this. I've never done I've just done Xena conventions in Los Angeles if I happen to be there, because they were there first and I try to honor them. If I'm in town, there's no way I could not go. They would hunt me down in my career. But everybody says Dragoncon is the most fun, and that you all, that it's not corporate, it's not a network, that it's a bunch of they say, very loving people. Yeah, it's a different kind of environment. So.
It's run by fans.
It's run by fans. Yes. It really is run by fans. Like, there's nobody here that doesn't seem to be a total and utter nerd. So nerds rule the world.
I think that last part of her question was a future project. Is there anything you would like to touch on?
I am going after this to Australia to do a political thriller. It's a 6-part miniseries about a kid who finds himself embroiled in a huge nuclear scam, big scandal, whatever's going on, and he's sort of going to wear it, and I play the woman in his town, very small town in outback Australia, who is trying to advocate for him, saved his ass, because it's bigger than they can even comprehend and really scary stuff.
What about Chicago?
What about Chicago? You're not mentioning Chicago. What's wrong with you, Lucy? Chicago. Oh, sorry, no, the poem was on my mind. You're right. I'm going to do Chicago. That town in town, Chicago. No, not that Chicago. I'm going to do a very gritty version of Chicago where I'm playing Velma. And in the Fosse Broadway version, like it's there's this.
Do it.
Should I do a little Fosse?
Yeah.
Stuff, because Fosse dancers are incredible athletes, and I'm not a dancer and not an athlete, but fortunately, this is not. Yeah, I'm really not. But this is going to be Michael Hurst's incredibly gritty, dark, bizarre, and gorgeous production. So it's going to be more Michael Hurst than Fosse, and don't tell anybody who owns the rights.
It's our
We're going to have our wicked way with it, and it'll be just great fun. And for those who don't know, Michael Hurst played Lawless in Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. He's a world-class performer and an incredible director, so a lot of our most operatic and most colourful, rich episodes of Spartacus were directed by Michael Hurst. So I'm so privileged to be part of his production.
That was a pretty show. That's Spartacus.
That was pretty, wasn't it?
It was really pretty.
Yeah. All those frocks and wigs.
Oh, those frocks and wigs.
Yeah.
He looks stunning.
Thanks. But I know you weren't talking about the frocks and wigs.
I can't repeat what I was watching. I loved every bit of it.
Yeah.
I can't. Like my brother right there, Gabriel, he was all like, it was just like a forest full of, yeah. You can fill in the blank. Tracy, what do you have?
I can't believe, sorry Tracy, but I can't believe you're being so coy about this. I've been hearing about the furry parties, about Bruce and Ted told me some of the stuff that goes on here after hours. Not that they've participated, but I guess they've seen enough. And
We're trying to break you in gently. We don't want to scare you off.
that's right, because I'm soft and I'm and I am of Dragoncon virgin.
Be very gentle. I think it was a forest of cocks. Tracy.
What's your name, darling? What's your character name?
Lucretia.
It's like looking in a mirror.
So Xena, of course, was like the most epic heroine of all time. Do you think any other heroines can measure up to the awesomeness that you were as Xena?
No, screw them. Oh, you know what? I always have to give the ultimate, and what Nina Simone is to music. I would say that Sigourney Weaver is the high priestess of women in sci-fi, and I got to give her a lot of credit and thanks for where I am today. And the rest obviously goes to you.
Nice. She's done okay with her career.
She's done okay, that's Sigourney. Yeah.
Tyler.
Hi, sweet pea. Hi, darling.
I have a question. I really like your horse, Argo, on Xena. I was wondering if you got horse lessons for the show.
What's your name, darling?
Abby,
Abby, how old are you?
9.
See, when I was a little bit older than you, my godfather, Uncle Brian, who lived on a farm, bought me a little pony to ride. I think it wasn't a very expensive pony. And some people didn't think she was a very good pony, but I thought she was the best. And I learned to ride from 10 years old to 15, and and just always loved horses. And I used to make horses out of like bean bags and bits of wood and stuff and pretend to ride them. So, oh, I'm ready for the fairy party now. That reminds me. Anyway, all those things that you do as a kid eventually come in handy. So whatever you love doing, if it's doing voices or doing harmonies, look, it happened, I went and used my Stevie Nicks voice later in life. So all the stuff that you do as play, as children, is prep for you growing up. So, you know, play. Have a great life, darling. Thank you.
Tracy?
Hi, I want to say thank you for everything that you do. Xena was a huge part of my life growing up. I wouldn't be the same without it. I was wondering
Why?
It was one of the shows that just really spoke to me about being strong and
About what, sorry? About being strong.
About being strong and, you know, making a difference and just standing up and being a badass, effectively. But I wanted to know what got you started in your massive conservation efforts, in your environmental stuff.
I don't know about massive. I do my little bit, but I'm, you know, just one person. What started it was I grew up in a country where skin cancer, we lead the world in skin cancer, and this is not a climate change related issue, but we have an ozone hole because of the whole world's use of CFCs in hairsprays, and I think it's changing now, they use CHCs or something, but the coolants in our refrigerators and all that stuff, when that gets out into the atmosphere, it destroys ozone. It can do 20 or 200 times its own weight and damage before it degrades, right? So I live in a country where we learned at an early age that what you do affects people a long way away. So we're all connected, literally. And then I was caught in Hurricane Katrina, or in the onslaught, and we had to evacuate the morning because we were such greenhorns, you know, we were like, we're going to go to the something or other hotel and drink hurricanes through this one. And I woke up in the morning with a crazy hangover, turned on the TV at 6 a.m. They were like, it's Cat 5, get out. And I rang the producers and said, you know, we probably owe it to our kids to leave. And so we tried to get out of town, and there was global terror. If you've been in a place where everybody's trying to leave at the same time, it's shocking what happens to the breakdown of stresses on people, the way that people use the roads and the resources, the hoarding of resources. And I'm only talking about the first 11 hours before Hurricane Katrina became what we all know. And the thunderheads were chasing us on the road. It took us 11 hours to get the 60 miles to Baton Rouge. And the first 8 hours were gridlock. We were not going 1 mile an hour. So, so what I learned about this, apart from the fact that in a hurricane, the barometer, the air pressure, goes so low that for 2 or 3 days before you're going, God, my shoes don't fit. You're like, are my feet getting bigger? That's horrible, you know. My cap doesn't fit my head and my rings. Your body's swelling because of the low temperature, so you're really uncomfortable. Anyway, eventually you evacuate. You don't have enough gas in the car because you didn't anticipate this trip. You don't want to get out, even if you have money, you don't want to get off the road, out of the grid, because you'll never get back in to get gas. You need water, you need food, so you're living on like peanuts and chocolate because that's what's in your car, and it's salty and you need something to drink. There's no information after water and food and toileting. What you need is information, and there is none because you can't ring out, and there's no radio. So I learned what global terror is and what increasing frequency and intensity of storms will mean to our cities and to the inhabitants. And the poorest people have no means of leaving, nowhere to go, no way to get there, and probably cannot possibly imagine a different scenario than whatever's coming. So we saw these little kids walking in the other direction, 13 years old, Scooby-Doo-Doo, with their little purses on their fingers in the other direction from the traffic. And you know they're going to spend the next 2 weeks on a balcony. You know, it's a bad situation. So, because massive climate change is utterly foreseeable, it is absolutely undisputed, except by lobbyists for oil companies, etc. I think it is indecent for us not to be making the massive efforts we need to head off and give our children a better future and a less volatile climate. That's the short answer. It's all about decency, eh? Politics, it's just decency.
Tyler, who do you have with you? What's your name?
Hi, my name's Shy, and I love you so much because I grew up with you. I would like to know, since you were the baddest in playing Xena, would you ever consider playing Wonder Woman for the upcoming Justice League movie?
Yeah, sure, I'm in. It would be so fun if they rebooted it, because Battlestar was an amazing way that they rebooted that, right? It went from being this really fun, glossy show of whatever era, that must be in the 80s, I think, to being that dark, post-apocalyptic, heavy-duty exploration. So who knows what they could do with Wonder Woman? But in all seriousness, I don't believe that's going to happen. Because they'll get someone who's 27. Be realistic.
Plus you have 2 more years until you're 27.
2 more years.
That's a great question. Tracy?
Damn it. She took my question.
She's
And
like that.
I really don't think that being 27 is actually Wonder Woman's age. I feel like she's actually like 36. So she's very mature.
So that's 11 more years.
And I've seen her an interview with you in the past, not wanting to be Wonder Woman at all. And
I didn't say that. I just think that's,
the Howard Stern, I think.
well, yeah, apart from the fact that was a really long time ago, and I may have changed my mind about all manner of things. I think it's simply that I like to be naughty. I like the duality, and that early television superheroes, or at least from the last century, were pretty much good guys. They were all good. And that was a product of its time. And I was a product of a different time where we wanted a lot of grit, and I like the underbelly of things. I like the frailty of wicked people, and the wickedness of good people. You know, that's what interests me.
How about a hybrid of those questions? And would it be appealing to you to maybe be the foil for the Diana Prince character on Paradise Island when she's being chosen to go? That if you were one of the combatants or whatever, that would be kind of like the...
I'd be like an ice skating rival. That's like the most vicious kind of competitor you can have, right? The number 2 in the ice skating world. Whoever it is, watch out. Or cheerleading moms.
Tyler.
Okay, yes, I'd do it. Yes, I'd do it.
In other words, she would take it, yes.
In a heartbeat.
For all you scriptwriters out there, get it together.
Working on it.
Hi, I'd just like to say thank you for making it cool to be a girl and a badass at the same time.
Awesome!
You were my hero growing up, and I wanted to be you, and I broke a couple bones trying to.
Put the mic next to your mouth, darling. I can't quite hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Say again.
I said I broke a couple bones trying to be you, but that's totally the situation.
What you mean a couple of bones and you're pointing to your ribs? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Do people really do that operation? Do you remember they used to say that about Cher, that she'd had ribs removed? Half this audience like, who's Cher? Never mind. Sorry about the buns.
Kevin Sarver always whines about how the pants weighed a lot. They were all leather and like 50 pounds, 60, 70 pounds or whatever. What was it like to wear your costume? Because you were in all leather too.
My costume, at first it took a while to work out the bugs. There was a moment because they put the boning in, and you'll have a little panic attack because those pesky floating ribs are usually breathing. You're nervous because you're playing Xena for the first time and you've never been on screen so long. I can't breathe. And I'd have a little freak out, so they had to just put the bones somewhere else. And maybe it was too long. You just couldn't do cartwheels because these things are made of metal. And but after a very short time, it was super comfortable. Once I got used to wearing something that short, at first I was wearing long shorts with like metallic fabric hanging off them, but they looked ridiculous in the first 2 episodes, and the producers eventually went, no more with the bike shorts. I was scandalized. I was like, oh, that's indecent. Cut to Spartacus. I used to say, they go, okay, we're going to knit this merkin, whatever the colour, you know.
Right.
And I would ask for what we called the Mr. Tumnus. Do you know Mr. Tumnus?
Yes.
So
Mr. Tumnus?
Mr. Tumnus is from C.S. Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe.
Right.
So the fawn, or so you wanted the merkin that would go from your waist to your knees. The coverall.
The coverall.
Speaking of which, I'm going to meet up with Jamie Murray tonight. I just saw in the book that she's here. I'm like, oh my God, are you here? I won't tell you what she calls me. I had to write, because I've got a new cell phone, so I had to write the code word, and she's got this really horrible name for me. Don't worry, I've got one for her too.
It's only fair.
Yeah, anyway, so I can't wait to catch up with her, and we're going to
What is it?
Share the nickname.
Share the nickname.
I'll have her write it down and I'll share with you after.
Kippin' knickers.
What's wonderful, Dragoncon, helping you make friends.
Yeah.
Acquaintances. I love
And
it.
Mitch Pileggi, who I worked with on X-Files all those years ago, and love that guy. Bill Shatner, who I have this sort of love-hate relationship with on Twitter, but really I just love him. Anybody else?
Hi, I've loved all of your work from your short film Peach. You might remember that way back. that was a good one.
I do. I didn't think I was very good in it, but thank you.
No, it was fantastic, and it really brought out my love of hot girls and pickup trucks.
Hot girls and pickup trucks. That must be slim pickings, though. Right? Or just, do you find any girl in a pickup truck attractive?
That's pretty much it, yeah. But I read about, they were talking about rebooting Xena, but the rights were tied up with a movie company. Can you explain more about that?
Well, from what I understand, and I have no particular legal insight into this, but they just didn't do the paperwork right. So now it might not, they're trying to figure out who owns it and to what degree. And you would think, oh well, the participants can just split it, but when you're talking about things like movies and properties that could turn into another TV show or whatever, people are very, very niggardly about what they give away to another party, right? So that all has to be ironed out. I hope you understand that word, niggardly.
Yeah. You know,
okay. I don't want any letters. I don't want to be
You used it correctly.
I was thinking.
or whatever.
Oh, we were on
Like,
CNN
Lucy
for
Rose
saying play ball
Yeah.
last night.
Oh, for play ball.
Did you have fun?
My friends kept saying, say ball play, Lucy. Like ball play, because they're trying to totally embarrass me, get it in my brain, and they want to ruin me. That's what they do. That's the kind of friends I have. Anyway, I got to say play ball.
Yes.
That's good.
I heard it was spectacular.
Did I? So I didn't answer the question. Oh, so
no, you did, yeah.
I keep.
I was just going to tell you, my girlfriend's a lawyer, so if you need any help.
I need all kinds of legal help, sister. Don't know what sort of trouble I'm going to get into next.
To add to what you were saying, I know a lot of fans would be interested. If something came about, would you revisit that character?
Xena?
Yes.
Absolutely, I would. However, I've got to say that it has to be handed over. It's such a great role, and those two roles, such a great relationship, that it has to be handed over at some point to a new generation, and I would like to participate in fostering that through in some way. I don't know whether that would mean that I personally would appear in whatever it is, whenever, if ever it happens, but I would like to be a part of, I want to make sure that it's done right, you know?
Of course. You should be fiercely proud of your work.
I'm really proud of it, but I have no say over anything really. There is somebody at the studio who is looking into it and wants, if we can figure out the right creative and figure out the legal of it all, then it could possibly go forward. That's all I know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the creative's really important, right? Because if I'm not in it and Renee's not in it, what is the show?
Right.
Like with Superman, it's the suit. You put on the suit. Is that the show? Okay.
No.
This is my hardcore stuff.
Yes, Miss Marilyn.
But okay, let's say in 40 years' time. Okay, I'm 85. 50 years' time, I'm 90. I really can't do the high kicks. You have to let it go. You have to let it go. But we have to do it right. And
that makes sense.
Anyway, we'll see.
I'm just glad that you're still invested in the character enough that you would want to.
Yeah, because I love those fans, and I love that role gave me everything, and I realized how terrible it was that we cut her head off at the end of it all. So we want to get the family back together, stick Xena's head back on. She and Gabrielle can open up a taco stand, do Stevie Nicks impressions, whatever. Ted and Bruce will settle down, have a couple of kids, get a surrogate, and then hand it over to a new generation. Would that be okay?
I love it. Tyler, who do you have with you?
It's leprechaun. Oh, tie. I'm wrong. Are you Danish or something?
I think it's a steampunk.
Steampunk.
Yeah, I'm steampunk. I'm wondering, Miss Lawless. Well, first off, before this panel, I didn't actually know that you weren't American because.
Thank you, darling.
Because in Xena, you do a really, really good American accent. So I'm just wondering, how did you learn to do that?
One of those things that you do as a child. It's kids play, and of course we heard a lot of American TV and the Wonder Woman and the Heart to Heart and the Battlestar Galactica, the original. Those were all things that were on when I was a kid. So everybody used to practice doing American accents badly, but it takes practice. Thank you, Sloan.
Tracy, who's the